were talking about it, you don't need to have a very sophisticated business to win the people game. You just got to have passion and soul. Don't run out of passion or soul and you'll never get beat. Doesn't matter how complex your business is. My second ask out of y'all is to connect with Chris. What we do takes people. So we want to capture some of your information. He won't spam you. He hadn't figured out how to do that yet. But when Chris said, hey, Robert, send me your list. I said, what list? He said, well, you have 500 people to send this book to. Send it to me. I hadn't been capturing information. I didn't realize how small my circle actually was. And I love my circle, but I realized that I needed to start capturing information because we don't know who we encounter and when we need to counter. And I know you ran into one of my friends that now is y'all's friends when you were in Atlanta the other day. And David, you and I ran into each other in Orlando. Crazy, right? And so you never know. And so connect with Chris. Find him on LinkedIn, everything else. And then the last one, I don't have a QR up here. I encourage y'all to please write a review about the book. Those things matter, okay? And I'm going to take just a few minutes to interview Chris. Don't worry, I'm going to pull your face down so it's not like your triplets, right? But what I want to do is I want to interview you specifically about the book because for everybody who doesn't know, you had one goal.
Yeah, one goal.
Yeah, can you just real quickly talk about that one goal?
Yeah, so inside the book industry, there's, we want to be bestsellers, all right? And so there's 3 lists that you're trying to try for. And the top list is New York Times bestseller list. So there's New York Times, there's USA Today, and then there's Amazon. Now, Amazon is good, but Amazon, you can game a little bit because you can sell the book for 99 cents for 1 hour and you can be an Amazon bestseller. So anybody that's in the industry doesn't actually care about Amazon bestseller, but you have it on there. So we're looking for USA Today, we're looking for New York Times being the highest level there. So for all of last year, I only had one goal and one goal only, and that was to hit New York Times. Now that was a little bit crazy and audacious because in all actuality, I didn't even have a plan to write the book. I was actually inside of a 3-day consulting with a guy, a friend of mine now, Rory Vaden. I don't know if you know Rory. If not, you need to know Rory. But Rory helps authors with books, some of the biggest names in the industry. And so I'm just there with Rory to try to figure out, would this guy be a good fit to introduce to all the Maxwell leadership coaches to help them out? Well, I'm inside of here, I'm learning, and they said, well, hey, Chris, if you were to write a book, what would you write it on? I was like, nah, I don't have any plans to write a book. And so he kept going through the process and showing, hey, this is what we have to do in order to architect and get to becoming a New York Times bestseller. Well, I begin to engage in the process and I begin to have this idea and I start to indulge them in what would I write this book about, who would it be for? And then I went home that afternoon or to the hotel that afternoon and I was sitting on the bench that morning waiting for the Uber to come, and then the idea for this book came. I mean, all 7 steps, the framework, everything came to me in just seconds. I mean, just like that, I knew exactly what it was. I go inside the room, I write on the whiteboard, and they said, yes, that's the book. I said, great, I'm going to hit New York Times. So I had no plans whatsoever of writing a book, but yet within 48 hours, I saw a blueprint and I said, well, hey, if somebody else has done it before, why not me? And then I began to go and tell people that I was going to become a New York Times bestseller. Now, remember, I'm around one of the top authors in the world. And I'm around many of the top authors in the world. And I begin to go and tell these people, hey, I've got a book coming out. I'm going to hit New York Times bestseller list. Now, they all kind of looked at me and was like, oh, that's great, Chris. That's cute. They're like, well, maybe you should try for this on your 2nd book, 3rd book, 4th book, but your 1st book, honestly, we'll see. And so this is one of the things that you got to watch out for is that when you do share something with somebody, even though they may be further ahead of you or they know the it's still in the rational mind, it doesn't make sense. And it did not make sense for me to say I wanted to be on New York Times because the average book that's written sells 200 books in a year. Average book. sells 200 in the first year, 1,000 in its lifetime. So you're talking 20, 30, 40 years, and this book is only going to sell 1,000. And to make it on those lists, you have to be in the tens of thousands to get there. And so it was kind of far-fetched, but I'm kind of stupid. And so I'm just thinking, well, it's been done before. I can't be the only person on the planet to be the first person, to write their first book and hit it. So I'm going to hit it. So that was the one goal that we had for last year.
So there's so much to unpack there. I'm not going to do that right now, but I do want to emphasize that you keep commitments. So, let's be honest. One of the reasons you're here is because you were trying to get on the New York bestseller, and you're still having to pay some of those debts.
That's correct.
If you didn't notice, there is no sticker New York Times bestseller.
No.
And the reality is that really doesn't matter because the book is supposed to impact one, and then it's our job to multiply that message, and that's why I encourage you guys to buy the book and multiply it. That's the big impact. And David will talk on it in a little bit, but there is a huge game, the New York bestseller, and then you've got some really big hitters on there that won't go away. And so, but you mentioned the one thing, and that was super intriguing. You got back on Facebook and everything like that. I was curious, what was your one thing before the book?
The one thing before the book, it was more team mentorship oriented. So it was really focusing on. So I don't set like a whole bunch of goals for the year. Set one goal. I used to believe in this philosophy of setting goals in 5 areas of your life, 5 different things in 5 areas of your life. But what I realized is when I was looking at that board, it kind of looked like all the signs up there, and those were all my goals. And at the end of the year, I would always come back, and I was only hitting 1 or 2 of them anyway. So I said, hey, why am I not filtering my goals? Why don't I just have one goal being Kansas right there, right? So now I know exactly everything to get there, but if I'm looking at all those goals, it'd be there. So I always bring it down to just one.
Awesome. And that's stuck. We have the vision board up there. We have our top 5 priorities, but we have a big enough team where everyone's championing one of those priorities. So it looks like we have 5 goals, but the reality is every one of those has an owner attached to it. And I'm going to talk to you about what your one thing is this year, but I want to know what surprised you in 2025.
What surprised me was how hard it is to sell a book. That's hard work, man.
So I go into rooms all the time, like, I was at John Maxwell's house, and like, who's that? And I was like, how do you not know who that is? But the reality is Chris is in all the rooms, and so for all of us thinking like we just don't know all the right people, Chris knows all the right people, and it's still hard to sell a book. But it's not hard to make impact on people when you stop trying to impress. And you did get Wall Street, and you got Amazon, and we're still cheering you on. There's still a chance. There's still a chance.
USA Today, Wall Street.
Or USA, that's right. Yeah, you're Wall Street. Yeah, y'all are Wall Street. I think I got just a few more questions before we dive into the campfire conversation, but the rate of bounce back was unbelievable. And what I've been learning is it's really not how good you are, it's how quickly you recover a lot of the times. We launched it. You gave us a whole day, poured into us. I know, Scott, you were on that call. That was a phenomenal day. We got a lot more than you got out of that deal. And but you bounced back. You didn't take a month off or whatever else.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some people here that need to know how you bounce back.
Well, it's simple. Robert called me and he was like, hey, Chris, I know that because you got like a week to hit this window for New York Times. And he's like, hey, you didn't hit the list. He's like, so how do you rebound from it? I was like, well, I didn't hit it. I was like, I just made the goal up anyway. And I hit the second tier. I hit USA Today. That's outstanding. We've got another author, friend of ours, that has written 14 books, Valerie Burton. Valerie is a phenomenal speaker, phenomenal writer. She's written 14 books, and she just hit the list for her very first time on this 14th book. And my book ranked higher than hers by about 20 spots. Okay? And so I'm going, this is outstanding to me. So I shot for the highest goal that was highly improbable anyway. I landed at a great place. So what? Let's go do the next one. So the bounce back for me is easy. A lot of people will set a goal. Well, I didn't hit it. And, well, now what do I do? Like, it's just made up. And so I'm going to go do something else. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
It just, I'm going to do this.
I didn't think I was gonna say this, but it really resonated when you said that. So we've been hitting our goal every year, and when we don't, it takes me some time to bounce back because our goal wasn't big enough. So when we missed it, it stung. And so I told you, hey, we're going to 10. He said, why aren't you going to 16? And I thought, it's a good question. And the reality is it's probably a little easier to bounce back when you make up a goal and you get close to it, because it's still going to be better than putting yourself in a box. And so don't worry, team, we're only going to 10 this year. But if for anybody who knows, and I coach you, we've been stuck at 7.5 million because our goal has only been 10% more, 15% more. And that's only one bad month or one bad week, and we're toast.
But here's the thing. I asked him about 16 because the difference between 10 and 16, they're both made up. Neither one of them are guaranteed, right? So if you're going to make up a number, make up a good one.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, just two more quick questions. How can we support you, Chris?
Man, you guys have done it. Getting the privilege to speak here today truly is an honor. I mean, you don't know how much this means to me to be inside of a room like this. I've dedicated my life to do this. Oh, man. And every opportunity I get a chance to stand on stage, whether it's thousands in arenas or a room just like this. Robert, even downplayed this room. He's like, Chris, now, I know that this room and this doesn't look like any stage that you've been on here recently inside of a warehouse. And I said, man, if I didn't do warehouses like this, I wouldn't be on stages like you see me on. And so to be here today, in a warehouse and to be here with you guys, man, it's truly a blessing to me. So just being here is enough for me, man.
I love it, Chris. Thank you. Matt and I have identified that the older we get, the easier it is to touch your emotions. So there was a moment I could have met you there in a second. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. The last one, and I was privileged to be on the call. You have a one word for the year, and we're going to work on the one word for the year tomorrow. And I think it's extremely important. I'll go into more tomorrow. But what's your one word?
Yeah, one word for this year for me is connection. It's connection. That is the driving force behind everything that works in my world. And I want to be highly, highly intentional about connection this year. So deeper relationships, smaller rooms versus bigger rooms. Like it looks great on social media to be, in front of thousands, but the truth of the matter is I have more impact in a room right here with 60, 70 people. We get more time, in a room like that. We get more time inside of here. So I'm really just connection is the key.
I love it. And when I was on, so for any of y'all who don't know, Chris has to get on a lot of calls. He mentioned 60,000 coaches. There's probably about 10,000 or so that are pretty active in the Maxwell stuff. And he said, we're going to get cameras turned on. We're going to do breakout rooms because it's not going to come from anymore. There's enough of his content out there. He wants to create connection. And do you mind if just small smidget of what you did for me last night when you called me? I don't want to get into all the details.
Oh, sure.
So, I'm going to share it. I just want to make sure I have permission. So, 11 o'clock, for any of y'all who don't know, our barbecue canceled yesterday at 10:45. We solved that problem. Don't worry, there's barbecue. But, yeah, I know, yeah. I get another call, Chris. I'm like, oh, my goodness. I call. He goes, Robert, I meant to pray for you. I said, no kidding. Wow. He no backstory, no explanation. I meant to pray for you. He prayed one of the most beautiful prayers. We said amen and hung up. That was it. 3 to 5 minutes. Huge, impactful. And what I said was, that was genuine because your word for the year was connection. And you gave me the clarity of your word, so I saw you living it out, genuine and authentic connection, and it just energized me because I could see you putting it into action, and so I appreciate it. And the prayer was extremely powerful. And talking about the 3 minutes, we only needed 3 minutes, so thank you. So that was awesome, and I really hung up and said, his word is connection. I know you took extra time to make that happen. So listen, when you pick a word or you do anything, you still have to put in effort, and sometimes you got to do it tired.
Right.
Or some days you have to do it scared. And so anyway, so thank you, Chris. I want to talk to you about the book a little bit because I don't see it at all as missing a goal, but there's some people out here that definitely need to understand that it doesn't even come easy for all of us here. And Matt, we've shared a bunch of our hardships and everything like that. I want to dive into a few quick questions, and then I'm going to frame where we're at.